I'm going to show you all this. I've been out working on the Mustang all day. Got the pump, the module, all the stuff. This is the methanol injection. Let me show you all the boost juice. Alright, let's go out and look at the Mustang. Anywho, y'all seen I got the methanol kit. I got both the throttle bodies bored out. I'm not done with them. These I cut clean through, all the way through the bore, and I put a good not a chamfer or radius chamfer, whatever. It's 5 degrees for the angle going down in there on both of them. Just got the blades back in there, test fitting them. I'm gonna polish them up real good, get them real nice and clean. I think I got to repair one of the throttle shafts. It's got a, yes, this one. I'm gonna have to put a center in here, put it on the lathe. I'm gonna weld this up real fast and spin it and just, you know, and cut that back down to this size. That's what I was saying, in the junkyard all the throttle blades are wore out, the shafts are, and that's a little complicated little shaft to make without having a milling machine. So but anyway, I'm working on them. The Mustang, let's go out here and look at it. Doesn't look like I've gotten far with it, but I have. I've been, all the wiring and stuff, getting it back up and going, all the gauges working with the carburetor. Let's see, cycle the, show y'all what I did with that too. Throttle ain't hooked up yet. Get some fuel now. I got it pumping water, pumping fuel, charging. Ended up taking that funky coil I got with it and I cut down the coil housing and mounted it up to the factory mount there. Hooked the tack back up to the negative side of the coil where it would work. Stripped the harness out. None of these are all fuel injection wires. I just got it laying up here for now until I get it all straight. But pulled the coolant, the temp wire out, the oil pressure wire out, hooked all that up. Like I said, this is not how it's going to be. You know, you just wanting to get it running today, and I did. Now, if you guys ever do this, I was going to tell you where I got this fuel pressure regulator at, but I wasn't sure I would remember how I got. This is a fuel injection regulator off of eBay. It's actually $38 for the AN fittings, the fuel pressure, the steel braided line, and it's good too. The AN fittings, they all went together like normal AN fittings did. This is fuel injection line I put here. It's got a filter still in line with the tank. It comes in through here, dumps out through the bottom, and goes back to the tank, and we got 7 psi here. Now these regulators will only go down to about, the lowest I could get it to go was 45 psi, and it'd go up to 100. Well, it took me half the morning to remember how I used to do this and get it down to 7 psi. Well, what I did is I remembered I had, see, that's the spring that was in there. There's a spring inside here, and it pushes down on a ball that lets the return go out the bottom and back to the tank. Well, with this heavy spring pushing down on that ball seat, it wouldn't get to 45 psi. So I went in there in my collection of stuff, and I had kits that I'd got, it had to be 10 years ago, of springs like this. And all you have to do on these is change the spring to a lighter rate, and now with it all the way out, it's about 3 psi, and you adjust it down a little bit and it just goes up to 6 and 7 psi. I think I got it set at 6.5, which is safe, and without flooding the carburetor out. It's not, the fuel pump's not running right now unless you cycle the key and fill the carburetor up and it'll run. I got to get inside and run a wire to the hot side of the relay to where it comes on with the key, which that's normal. If it doesn't see a map and it doesn't see different things, the fuel pump won't run. But if you buy this, it's like $40 on eBay. It took a little bit to get it, but I didn't want to say anything about it until I made sure I could get it to work again. I bought one years ago. It's a copy of an Aeromotive fuel pressure regulator, and one of these would probably work pretty good on the Jeep too, which is what I was going to do with it if I couldn't get it to work on here. But I remembered, I just changed the spring rate inside here, and you can make it where it's lower pressure. The only thing difference is this big heavy ass spring. But the carburetor worked good. Carburetor's working good. I brought it up top dead center, run the wires, and she fired right up. We're gonna run it. I'm gonna get it running and get it driving, get all this tidied up and get everything in looms and everything how I want it. And we're gonna drive a little bit, and then we're gonna pull the distributor back out and look at the gear on the end of it and make sure it's not chewing up, because I've had that happen to me before. They'll tell you it's a steel gear, and then it'll just chew it up. I was going to remove this gear and put on the end of that distributor, but it wouldn't work. It was a different size length here. The shoulder was different. But she's getting there. I know it looks like shit right now, but just making these lines up and stuff takes some time, man. And making that mount over there, you can see it better from this side how I did that mount, I think. But it's in the factory location. You can see where I cut the bottoms of it off and mounted it on that bracket. And that, I'm not sure what the timing is, but it's cranking up good. I don't have the throttle hooked up yet. I used to get, for an 83 Mustang, I think, and it's a shorter cable. This one will work. I just have to loop it around in a circle. I had to cut the factory fuel injection mount. I need to clean up. I get this Mustang out of the way, I'd be able to do something else around here other than work on it. Don't look at my welding. I had to cover up some big gaps. But we're going to sand this down. But what I had to do was cut slits in it, and it was split open about that wide. That's why it looks like shit. But anyway, I had to get this straight, and it bolts to the carburetor stud here, and this lip down in there goes around the back side of the carburetor, so when you tighten it up it won't move. And I done set it and adjusted it and made sure it was pulling full throttle, and it is. And anyway, let's crank it back up and listen to it. Yeah, I gotta get on the fuel pump relay and get it to stay on with the key. Plus the key switch is messing up. I gotta put a key switch in it too. Make sure the carb's full. It doesn't look like it's charging, but I put a gauge, my meter on it, and it is. All the gauges are working. drive it. Maybe when I get it running, we'll take the camera, the windshield mount out of the Jeep and put in here and take it for a spin. But yeah, been on her all day, boys. But like I said, with that fuel pressure gauge, if you want to run the stock fuel pump on anything and make it where it'll, you know, run the pump in the tank and then put it to a carburetor, all you gotta do is change the spring in the top of it. And the spring, if you take the old one out, I don't know what I did with it now. If you take the old one out and you just match it up, and I'll show you about what I put in there to get 7 psi, because it matters, you know. That way you don't have to buy 20 springs, you know, if any of y'all ever do that. But here's the collection of springs that I have, and this is from years of racing and stuff, you know, collecting this stuff, or I wouldn't have had it myself. But I was sitting there this morning messing with it, and I'm like, I know there was a way I did that. That's what we did. Put that in there, and you'll get 7 psi instead of that's 45. I got several of them. Anybody needs one. Anyway, boys, got the methanol kit. We'll get it on the Jeep. I'm not sure when. I've got to finish this car up, and I ain't made any videos on it because I've been thrashing on it, and you know how it is when you're thrashing on something when you're trying to get it done. You just you know, get it done. And of course, I've lost all kinds of shit, like the grommets for these. I don't know where they went to, but they are missing. I gotta go get grommets for them. Anyway, put them on there, put the breathers on it, hook vacuum up to that one. I took in the EGR is all plugged off temporarily for now. The vacuum pump, I would have liked to done away with it, but the old man's money's limited, so he's in pretty deep as he can go right now, and me and the wife's helped him as much as we can. But I would like to get rid of the vacuum pump, but it's fine. It'll be alright. It just looks like crap on there. And we may, when we get everything finished on it, everything loomed up, the wires where they're going to go, everything where it's going to live, we may take the whole front of it off, repaint all this stuff, and put it all back on there for him, and do one last cleaning on the engine. Then we're going to get a Steta clutch cable for it. We're going to put the Steta cable on it and the clutch quadrant underneath the dash to get that all good and maybe easier for him to push. And if it works out to where he still can't push the clutch in right, we're probably going to put a hydraulic clutch in this thing, and he'll be good to go then. But that's going to be down the road. Anyway, I moved the Jeep the other day, or moved the Jeep out of its spot, and when I hit the brakes, I heard a clinkety clank up there. I really need to get through with everything where I can get back on this thing. I am missing working on my Jeep. I was actually frustrated with all of it this morning because I'm wanting to get out here and do this stuff, and you know, but it's the wife's daddy, and it's more important to do this car right now for him. What you doing? What you doing? Oh, I don't hear it run one more time. Then we're going. You don't know how rewarding well, some of you do know how rewarding it is just to hear an engine run after you've worked on it for a while. Especially a brand new one. There ain't nothing smells better to me than a brand new engine cranking up and everything burning off of it. That is such a good smell. That's that Demon carburetor, that new Demon. That Demon is like a I'll tell you about it when we cut the car off. Sounds pretty good. Sounds way better than it did. The car runs good. The engine looks good too. When I had the manifold off of it, the intake manifold, it looked clean as a pin in there. The old man heard it on the phone. He said, I wanted to be there when it was born. Anyway, these the new Demon carburetors that I got for this, I forget what they call them, but some of you older guys know the old Quadrajet, right? Little tiny barrels in the front. That's how this is. Real small barrels in the front, but in the back it's like a Predator, the old Predator carburetors. It's a big wide oval butterfly in the back that just opens up. It's got another plate above it that meters the fuel like a Predator carburetor. So it's like a Quadrajet in the front and a Predator in the rear. I can't wait to drive it and see how it does. And it's pretty stiff too. I mean, the base of them is what you usually got to worry about, but I got the rear bolt out of it because that bracket goes right there that we're making. And it's running fine with 3 bolts in it. Usually on an old Holly or something, it'd break if you tried to do that. Anyway, guys, I wanted to check in with y'all, show you what I was up to. Been hammering on this thing all day. She is getting there quick. I probably got another day on it, another day and a half on it with the clutch cable, and I got to weld the subframe connectors under it. And then we'll be good to go. He wants to try to get the AC running on it, so we'll have to see. That's what all this is right here. The damn the wires just like turned to mush. The whole plug, I had to cut that much of the wire off of it because the whole plug was just melded together. But that's what that's for. That's your AC relay. Anyway, you guys have a good one, and we'll be putting that methanol injection on the Jeep here pretty soon. I got to get this car done first, and we should be done with this by next weekend, and maybe we can get on the Jeep. I'm gonna work on it next week and get it finished up. But y'all have a good one. We'll holler at you later. All right, bye.